So in the previous session, we were discussing about writing the root array and determining the stability of the system by inspecting the first column. Now, while continuing with the root array, so we saw that there were two difficulties which uh, do not allow the root array to be completed. So therefore, in that case, we were discussing the difficulty 2 part. Okay. So the difficulty 2 is whenever all the elements in any one of the row of the root array are 0. The first problem was when only the first term of the root array becomes 0. Now the second difficulty is when all the elements in the one row of the root array are 0. Now because of this complete row filled with zeros, the root array test breaks down. So now in order to again continue with the array writing, okay, so the solution here is replace the row of zeros, okay, in the root array by a row of coefficients, and those coefficients are obtained from the polynomial. So the polynomial is generated by taking the first derivative of the auxiliary polynomial. Okay, so here in this process, whenever we see that one row completely becomes 0, so then we go for writing a polynomial equation, and that equation is written on the by considering the row which is just above the row of zeros. So we will take the help of auxiliary polynomial, and we will use this polynomial by differentiating it one time and getting its coefficient, and then we will fill up those coefficient in the row of zeros. Okay, so what is the procedure we will see through the numerical example. So here we have an characteristic equation s to the power of 6 plus 2 s to the power of 5 plus 8 s to the power of 4 plus 12 s cube plus 20 s square plus 16x plus 16 equal to 0. So now write down the our standard characteristic equation so that it is easy to compare the coefficient and fill up the first two rows of the root array. So a naught value is 1, then a1 is 2, a2 is plus 8, a3 is plus 12, a4 coefficient is 20, a5 is 16, and last a6 value is 60. So once we identify all the coefficients, then the first two rows are filled up. So therefore, as highest order is 6, so our root array, it starts with s to the power of 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, s to the power of 0. Now, begin with the s to the power of 6 row. So here, this term starts with a0, then it is a2, a4, a6. So a0 is 1, then a2 is 8, a4 is 20, and last a6 is 60. Just by comparing with this equation. Then the second row starts with a1, then a3, then a5. So a1 is 2, a3 is 12, and a5 is 60. So once writing the first and second rows, that is s to the power of 6th row and s to the power of 5th row, then we will calculate the other values in the next row. So therefore, calculate s to the power of 4 row. So if you have with you the papers, you can calculate. So this value, assume that it is b1, b2, b3. These values are b1, b2, b3. So b1 equal to 2 into 8 minus 1 into 12 divided by 2. So the first answer will be 2. Then this b2 value is 2 into 20 minus 1 into 16 divided by 2. So this is again 12. Then b3 value we calculate, it is 2 into 16 minus 1 into 0 here, 0. So because we don't have any a7 in the equation, that's why this is 0. So b3 value is 2 into 16 minus 1 into 0 divided by 2. So 2 cancels and only 16 is the remaining value. Okay. So now this is the s to the power of 4 row. Then Now go on calculating s to the power of 3 row. Now this is a problem. That is a problem is going to occur here when you calculate s to the power of 3 row. So 2 into 12 minus 2 into 12. Okay. So immediately this value becomes 0. You can imagine this C1, C2. C1 value is 0. Then we will check this because this may come as non-zero value also. Okay. So whether it is 0 or non-zero, that should be verified first. Okay. So immediately don't go for solving the first problem, that is by replacing it with epsilon and that method. Okay. So we should make sure that the entire row becomes 0. Then only this procedure is adaptable. But if the second element is non-zero, then you should take it as substituting a small number epsilon and then proceed with the root array. So that's why we have to check all the elements whether they are all 0 or not, or only first element is 0. Okay. Now as of now first term is 0, so we will check the second term. It is again 2 into 16 minus 2 into 16, so therefore this is 0. Second term is also 0. So therefore if above two rows are same, obviously our answer is going to come as 0 only. Now you cannot get one more because 2 into 0 we don't have any terms only. So s cube, this row contains only two terms and both are 0. So when both become 0 here, the root test breaks down, because further we have to fill up s square, s to the power of 1 and s to the power of 0. Still 3 more rows are there. Okay, but zeros are appearing at s cube row itself. Okay, so now we have to adapt this particular solution. What is the solution? We have to replace this s cube row so that we can proceed further. So in order to replace the 0 by coefficients, we have to form an auxiliary equation. Okay, so auxiliary equation is nothing but it's a part of main characteristic equation only. So therefore the auxiliary equations are formed by taking the upper row. Okay, that is s to the power of 4th row. Okay, so therefore auxiliary equation A of s is equal to 2 into s to the power of 4, 2 into s to the power of 4 plus 12 into s square, because second term, if this is s to the power of 4, next term will be s square. S square plus last value is 16. So 2, 12, 16 are used here as the coefficients of the auxiliary polynomial. Okay. So A of s is equal to 2 into s to the power of 4 plus 12 into the next order will be s square plus this constant 16. Okay. Then differentiating it one time, because we need coefficients for s cube row. So differentiating this equation one time, it is d by ds of A of s is equal to, so it is 4 into 2 8s cube plus 12 into 2 24s plus 0. Okay. So therefore now for s cube row the coefficients are 8 and 24. Now these 8 and 24 are filled up in the place of s cube row, and the array, that particular row is completed. So then we can proceed with the remaining part. Okay. So therefore now the new root arrays, so till this there is no change. Okay. So 2, 12, 16. So this row was 0. Okay. So now we have replaced this row by 8 and 24, coefficients of the differentiated auxiliary equation. Okay. Once these values are available, again proceed by writing s square, s row and s to the power of 0 row. So therefore s square row value, so this value you can assume it is d1, d1 and d2. So d1 is equal to, it is, you can write 8 into 12 minus 2 into 24 divided by 8, and similarly the answer will be 6. The next value, 8 into 16 minus 2 into 0 divided by 8, answer will be 16. That is s square. S square. Coming down to s to the power of 1 row, you have to multiply these two. 6 into 24. So this step I have shown here. For s1 I have shown here. 6 into 24 minus 8 into 16. This is 8. 8 into 16 divided by 6 only. divided by first term of the row, that is 6. So simplify this, we are going to get 8 by 3. So you can do it. 6 into 24 minus 8 into 16 divided by 6, it gives 8 by 3. So next it will not give the other term, here it is 0 because 6 into 0, 8 into 0. So we don't have the coefficients here to write this number, so leave it blank. 8 by 3 is the only one term we have in S row. Similarly, compute the last row, s to the power of 0. It is 8 by 3 into 16. 8 by 3 into 16 minus 6 into 0, that is 0 only, minus 0 divided by 8 by 3. 8 by 3. So 8 by 3, 8 by 3, numerator denominator will cancel. 16 is going to remain. Okay, now this 16 is nothing but it is the last A6 coefficient also. So A6 is 16. Okay, even assume that if this particular characteristic equation did not face a problem of the zeroth row, then in that case also for s to the power of 0, so we were supposed to get 16 as the last row answer. And now here also we are getting the same again 16 in the place of s to the power of 0 row. So now this is the completed root array. And to say about the stability, so we are checking the first column. So we have 1, 2, 2, 8, 6, 8 by 3 and 16. So there are no changes, all are positive. There is no sign change. So as there is no sign change, the system is stable. So there is no sign change, therefore the system can be said as stable. So we will conclude about that stability part. Okay. So now, is it exactly stable, or is there any other condition applicable to that stability? That we will explore by just looking into the type of roots of this auxiliary equation, because auxiliary equation is also a part of the main characteristic equation, and the roots of auxiliary equation are also the roots of characteristic equation. Okay, so therefore if at all if the roots have negative real part, positive real part, or any complex conjugate, okay, so the nature of those roots will tell you in details about the stability. So therefore let us find out the roots of the auxiliary equation. So now the s to the power of 4, the equation is written in this form: s square whole square plus 6 into s square plus 8 equal to 0. So we are finding out the pair of roots because it is s square whole square plus 6 into s square plus 8 equal to 0. Therefore s square equal to minus b, that is minus 6, plus or minus root of b square, that is 6 square, minus 4 into ac. A is 1, c is 8. So therefore 4ac is 32. This whole divided by 2a. A is 1, so 2. So simplifying this, we are going to get minus 6 plus or minus 2 by 2. So therefore, so further simplify this term. One time you have to take plus 2, other time you have to take minus 2. So therefore when it is plus 2, s square will be equal to minus 2, or s equal to plus or minus j root 2. This is one pair of equation, one pair of roots, that is plus j root 2 minus j root 2. Similarly, when the sign of 2 is minus, we are going to get minus 4 here. Minus 4, actually minus 8. Minus 8 by 2 is minus 4. So s square is minus 4, therefore s is equal to plus or minus j root j2. This is another pair of roots. Okay. So now these two pair of roots are also the roots of original characteristic equation. Okay. And particularly for these two rows, okay, so no root has a positive real part. Okay, first of all, so we are checking for the real part, whether it is positive or not. Okay, so it doesn't have any positive real part. So this is one indication that the system is stable. Okay, but it has a complex conjugate roots on the imaginary axis. So that nature of the roots makes the system a limitedly stable one. Limitedly stable. Okay, so this is what is a further inspection done by checking the nature of roots which are available from the solving auxiliary equation. So therefore, the overall procedure here is, so whenever you encounter a complete row of zeros, you have to form an auxiliary equation by taking the row just above the zero row. So here it is s to the power of 4. So therefore, we are forming the auxiliary equation by using s to the power of 4 row. So 2s square plus 2, 12s square, okay, then 16. That is next even number, plus 16 equal to 0. One time you have to differentiate it so that we are going to get the coefficients for the next row. 8s cube, 24s 0. So 8 and 24 will become the coefficients here in s cube row. Okay, so fill up that, and further it is easy to complete the row. Now in this example, so here there are no sign changes, therefore we have concluded it's stable. So further, as we don't have any particularly negative real part, or even the roots doesn't contain any positive real part also, so it is limitedly stable. So that is the conclusion drawn on the nature of the roots. So if any one of the value here becomes negative, so then readily you can say that the system is unstable only. So this is what is a procedure to solve the two types of difficulties which are seen in completing the root array. So now there are some applications of the root stability criterion in linear feedback systems. Okay, so in linear feedback systems, so as we have a feedback facility there, is it possible to adjust the feedback factor such that we ourselves can make the roots, okay, exist in such a place which makes our system stable? Okay, so here we are making use of the root stability criteria to check. Okay, so if we vary a variable gain in the system, okay, then is it possible to place the roots in such a place in the S plane which makes the system stable one? Then what should be the constraint on that k, okay, unknown parameter k in the closed loop system, which makes the system stable by placing the roots on LHS of the S plane? Okay, so let us see how root criterion is used in such kind of applications. So root stability criterion is used for determination of the condition of stability in a linear feedback control systems. So previous models we have seen how to write the transfer function of the feedback system, and also in some of the problems we have seen the transfer function in terms of k, and finally we have determined what is the k value and all by using zeta as well as omega n and other parameters of the system. So now we are using the root stability criterion in solving the closed loop system, and we are determining how we can make the system stable by utilizing the concept of root criterion. Therefore, in order to understand this, let us consider a closed loop system as shown in this figure 1. So this is a very much familiar closed loop system. So R of S is the input, C of S is the controlled output. Now here in the forward path we have a K and G of S, okay, and H of S is the feedback factor. Now for such a system, so C of S by R of S, that is the transfer function is given by, so K into G of S. So because K and G of S blocks are in cascade, they will get multiplied and reduced into single block. So therefore, this becomes our forward path transfer function K into G of S divided by 1 plus K into G of S into H of S. So this is a closed loop transfer function representation. Now in this we see that, okay, a K term is included, so which acts as a variable term, okay, so which will help us in fixing the gain of the system. Now in the overall transfer function, the denominator 1 plus k into g of s into h of s is a characteristic equation. So therefore, we will equate it to 0. And this is the equation which is going to give us the roots also. Okay. So thus, the roots of the above characteristic equation now depend on the value of k, because k has come in the denominator and this k is purposefully introduced here. Okay, so because by introducing k in this path, it is possible to adjust the k value such that the roots fall in that region, which will make the system stable. So therefore now our characteristic equation is in the form includes the term k. So when you find the roots k root values, so k has a significant effect on the root values also. So that's why it is written here. Thus the roots of the above characteristic equation, they depend on the value of k here. So therefore now for this characteristic equation, we can write the root stability criterion, and we can use the stability criterion to say or to find the range of k values which will make the system stable. Okay, so you can, here it is given that the root array is constructed in terms of k, and hence the range of k values can be obtained so that there are no sign changes, in the first column of the root array. Okay, so now since the stability depends on the conditions on the parameter k, the system is known as conditionally stable system. Okay, so here the overall idea is, by including the k in the forward function, our characteristic equation is written in terms of k. Now this is going to decide the nature of the roots also, because we are going to write the root array in terms of k. So now by inspecting the first column only, we are checking the stability criteria. Okay, so therefore as k comes in the first column of the root array, it is possible to make all the elements of the first column of the root array as positive only by choosing certain values on k, or by putting certain conditions or finding some range of k value. Okay, so by giving the k such a range, it is possible to make all the terms in the first column as positive only, so that our system tends to be stable. Okay, and the range of k values will going to say, okay, so for what all values of k our system remains stable, and when the system starts becoming unstable. So therefore now later on we can choose only that value of k which makes the system stable. Okay, so now let us, with an example, we will see how this k can be used in controlling the stability of the system with the help of root criteria. Here is one example here. Now this is the given block diagram. This is a g of s and this is h of s. So consider a closed loop feedback system as shown in this figure. Now what is our problem is to determine the range of k values for which the system is stable. Okay, so determine the range of k values for which the system is stable. Now still we don't know what value of k would make the system stable. We only know that by when you construct the root table, okay, the first column of the root array, it should contain only the positive terms. So if and only if it contains a positive term, we will decide it is stable, otherwise no. So now in closed loop systems, okay, which have a unity feedback like this, okay, so now we are making use of the root criterion to determine that k value, single value or range of values, okay, so which are going to make the system stable. Okay, so therefore the procedure of writing c of s by r of s, that is closed loop transfer function, is as usual. So this is g of s term. For what is g of s is a forward function open loop transfer function, and for this system h of s is 1. So therefore transfer function c of s by r of s is, its equation is no, so I have skipped writing that. It is g of s by 1 plus g of s into h of s. So h of s is 1, so therefore assume that we have only g of s by 1 plus g of s, that's all. Okay. So further very easily we can simplify this, and our reduced equation is like this. Now in the previous module also several times we have used such a closed loop system in the even the second order system, where we have used such a system to find out the unknown parameters like damping ratio and natural frequency of the systems and all. But here we are making use of again the same transfer function in the same format, but to determine the system gain k, which will make the system a stable one. Okay, so the same representations, but the applications are different. So anyway, this process is known. We will cancel the common terms, and finally the transfer function is k divided by s into s square plus s plus 1 into s plus 4, but now plus k will also be included in the denominator. Okay, now this is required. This is required, k term. Otherwise, if k is not there, then our characteristic equation will be of fixed in nature. So then we don't have any provision to make changes in the nature of the roots. If at all, if there is any variable term, then we can vary that term and we will choose the value of k such that we get only those roots which will make the system stable. If we don't have any variable term, then the roots will be fixed. And if at all, if the roots have the positive, real, positive and real, which are lying on the RHS of the S plane, then we don't have any option to make them come on the left side of the S plane. Okay, so therefore, in order to change the nature of the roots, we always need this k, which we can consider as a system gain, okay, by varying which we can adjust the roots. So therefore, this is a transfer function in the simplest form, k by s into s square plus s plus 1 into s plus 4 plus k. So this is the characteristic equation. Now we will consider only the denominator part. Okay, so this denominator part is now further used in writing the root stability or root array. Root array, later we will determine the stability and all. Okay. So now the characteristic equation is this. So again multiply each and individual term to see what is the highest power. So now the highest power is 4, s to the power of 4 plus 5s cube plus 5s square plus 4s plus k equal to 0. So this is what is required in order to write the root array. Now in the previous problems we have seen this was given. Okay. So we see here that this is a characteristic equation. So now I hope you have understood from where did we get this characteristic equation. This is the denominator of the transfer function. Okay, so this is available from the denominator of transfer function of a closed loop system. Okay, now in these problems we have readily taken the characteristic equation and we have completed the root array and we have just checked whether it is stable or unstable. Okay, so that is only writing the root array. That's why I did not consider the whole system. Now this is what is one exact application we are discussing, that is a closed loop system. So that's why an entire system is considered and we have written the system transfer function, and from the transfer function the characteristic equation is written, and from characteristic equation the root array will be completed. So therefore now we know how to write our root array. So again the highest power is 4, so therefore the array will contain s power 4, s cube, s square, s to the power of 1 and s to the power of 0 as the last term. Now the array first two rows can be completed by looking at the characteristic equation. So compare this equation with our standard equation, that is a naught s to the power of 4 plus a1 s cube plus a2 s square plus a1 s plus a naught equal to 0. Okay. So therefore a naught term, this is a naught, a2 and a4. So a naught is 1, a naught, a1, a2 is 5 and a4 is k. A4 is k. Okay. Then remaining value, the next row is a1, a3, a1 and a3. So a1 is 5, a1 is 5, 2, 3. So a3 is 4. Okay. So the two rows are filled up by looking at the given characteristic equation itself. So now we will start writing from the third row onwards. So the third row calculation is just as done with the previous, that is 5 into 5, 25, minus 1 into 4, 25 minus 4 divided by first term 5, divided by first element, that is 5. So this is equal to 21 by 5. So 21 by 5 you fill up here. So always show all your calculation outside this column and finally fill up the reduced answer here. Don't show all calculation here itself. So somewhere you write and write only the reduced so that all terms are visible clearly. Then, so still we have other coefficients to calculate the next element also. If it is b1, you can imagine this as b2. So b2 is equal to 5 into k, 5 into k minus 1 into 0 divided by 5. Okay, so 5 will cancel, only k is going to remain. Now this calculation is just same as the previous, whatever we have solved. Okay, so in the same process we go on writing the root array. Similarly, come to this s to the power of 1. So here s power 1, that is first element. First element is 21 by 5 into 4. 21 by 5 into 4 minus 5 into k. Okay, so 21 by 5 into 4, it is 84 by 5. 84 by 5 minus 5 into k. This whole term is divided by 21 by 5. Okay, so now this cannot be further simplified. Keep it as it is. Now what is important is we are seeing this k appearing in the root array. It will obviously appear because it is present in our characteristic equation itself. So come to the last row, that is s to the power of 0th row. This is nothing but this term 84 by 5 minus 5k 80 by 21 by 5, this into k minus 21 by 5 into 0 only, divide by 84. Okay, so therefore this complete term is going to cancel, so only k is going to remain. So once you fill up all the rows in the root array, now what is important is to find the k values, okay, so which will make the system stable. Now in the earlier problems there was no k. In the earlier 2-3 problems whatever we discussed for writing the root array, there was no k term. Okay, so that's why there was no option to change the first elements of the root array. Okay, if they are negative also, then we should immediately write them as system is unstable only. But here as k is included as a part of the system, then by choosing the k value, we can make all the terms in the first column as positive, so that the resulting roots are such that they will make the system stable again. So therefore now we have to inspect again the first column of the root array only. Now in the first 3 terms 1, 5 and 21 by 5, so there is no problem, they are all numbers. But here in s to the power of 1 row and s to the power of 0th row, so we have the k terms. So now we will have to assign some conditions on these two values so that these two values they remain positive. Okay, so we have to assign some conditions or put some restrictions on these two terms so that these two terms remain positive. Then only the system is going to stable. Okay, so therefore obviously by looking at this k should be greater than 0. This is a very most simple condition, that k cannot be negative. So therefore even k cannot be 0 also, because if k becomes 0, then again it will lead to some other problems, just as discussed before in the difficulty 1 and difficulty 2 part. Okay, so therefore k has to be always greater than 0. So this is one condition on k. So k has to be first of all more than 0. Then what is the other limit? What is the other limit on k? Whether k can be infinite or k, what is the range of that k value? Okay. So therefore next we are writing here like this. So for the systems to be stable, the signs of the first element should be positive. So that is k should be greater than 0 in the last row. This is as discussed. Okay, now other condition is this 84 by 5 minus 5k should also be greater than 0, which is present in s to the power of 1 row, that is here. This term should also be more than 0 only, so that this term is also positive. Okay. So therefore now we will write 84 by 5 minus 5k should also be greater than 0 in s to the power of 1 row, or 84 by 5 should be greater than 5k, or k should be less than 84 by 20. Why it is 25? Because 5 into 5, 5 into 5, 25. So k should be here, actually 84 by 25 should be greater than k, or it means that k should be less than 84 by 25. So therefore one limit is k should be more than 0, other limit is k should be less than 84 by 25. So therefore now we will summarize, and that is we will write one range for this k. So k is in more than 0, less than 84 by 25, so that is if k satisfies this range, all the terms, of course 3 terms are already positive, but the remaining 2 terms, that is remaining 2 terms means the last 2 rows, these 2 terms, they will also become positive, they will also remain positive only. These 3 are already positive, okay, so here these 2 will also be positive. Therefore the k in our the first given block diagram, so this was a given block diagram, okay, in the given block diagram now, whatever this k is there, if this k is more than 0 and less than 84 by 25, then it means our characteristic equation is such that first column contains all positive terms. Okay, so this range of k will make all the terms positive in the first column of the root. So for stability, once we decide this range, okay, so further we have some more conditions to check. For stability, the k values should be in the range as shown in the equation 1. So therefore now k is less than 84 by 25. So what happens if k is exactly equal to 84 by 25? So if k is 84 by 25, then first element in s power 1 row, it becomes 0 only. Okay, see here, if k value is exactly equal to 84 by 25, 84 by 25, then this 5, 5, 5 and 25. Okay, so you can simplify them and we will see that this term reduces to 84 by 5. So therefore this term becomes 0 only. Okay, so the first element becomes 0 where in s to the power of 1 row. So it shows that, okay, the presence of pair of symmetrical roots. Now this is an indication that, okay, it's an indication of what? Presence of a pair of symmetrical roots which are present on j omega axis. They don't have either positive or real parts. Okay, the roots are pair of roots which are symmetrical roots. Okay, and this we have seen even in the last problem also, plus or minus j root 2. Okay. So now the situation is just similar to that. When this will happen? When the roots are going to become plus or minus j omega, whenever our k value is exactly equal to 84 by 25. Okay, if k value is less than 84 by 25, then the roots nature will be different. Okay, the roots will be such that they are present on the LHS. Okay, the root will be present on the LHS, therefore the system will be stable. But now the limiting condition we are checking. So what is the limiting condition is when k is exactly equal to 84 by 25. So when this happens, then the roots which were earlier present on the LHS, now they gradually tend towards this axis and they will be symmetrical in nature, located on the j omega axis. Now the presence of this pair of symmetrical imaginary roots, okay, is an indication that whatever the response is there from that system which is represented by closed loop block diagram, okay, the response will contain oscillations. Okay, because we have j omega term where omega indicates the frequency of those oscillations. Okay, so therefore due to the pair of purely imaginary roots at k equal to 84 by 25, sustained oscillations will be generated inside the system, in the closed loop system. So therefore these roots are determined by how? By solving the auxiliary equation again, because whenever the see that, for example, here if k is equal to that 84 by 25, then s1 row becomes 0. When s1 row becomes 0, this entire row is 0 only. So when entire row is 0, so we solve such a kind of problem by forming the auxiliary equation. auxiliary equation is generated by this row, that is a square row. Okay, so by solving this auxiliary equation, we are going to get a pair of roots, and those roots are going to reveal some information about system stability. Therefore, here we will check that also. Okay, so assuming that k we have substituted 84 by 25. Actually, the range should be what? K should be less than 84 by 25 to keep the system in a stable condition. But if at all, if k reaches 84 by 25, then all this is going to happen. What is that? First of all, it is going to lead to a pair of imaginary roots. Okay, and then we will have to form what? Auxiliary equation. And our auxiliary equation will be like this. So 21 by 5 a square plus 84 by 25. So this equation, from where it has come? It has come from this root table only. Now here, when k is 84 by 5, this entire row becomes 0. So therefore, using this, we are forming the auxiliary equation. So the power is square here. So therefore, it is 21 by 5 a square plus k equal to 0. So k value we know it was 84 by 25 only. Okay, so therefore, in the auxiliary equation, we have substituted that k as 84 by 25 only. Now, so we don't want to differentiate and all, because we are not here to complete the root array. Okay, so we have to simply inspect what are those roots. Okay, so what will be the roots if k is 84 by 25. Okay, so we are checking the limiting condition on the gain value. Okay, so therefore there is no need to differentiate and all. When we are going to differentiate? When we have to fill up the root array. Now here we are not worried about filling up the root array. Okay, so here we are worried about checking the last condition on k, which will make the system unstable and gives rise to pair of imaginary roots. Okay, so that's why differentiation is not required here. So this is the auxiliary equation. We'll have to find the roots here. So a square, therefore it is going to give two roots. So 21 by 5 a square equal to minus 84 by 25, and this is equal to, further you can simplify 5 and okay, 5 5 is a 25. So a square equal to minus 84 by 105. So take, we want only s. So s equal to, as it's a negative number, plus or minus j root of 84 by 105. So s equal to plus or minus j 0.89. Now this s is equal to plus or minus j omega naught. Here it is written s equal to j omega naught is plus or minus j 0.89. So therefore, comparing these two, omega is 0.89. 0.8. So therefore, this indicates the frequency of sustained oscillations inside the system. Okay, so this indicates frequency of oscillations. Oscillations of what? Oscillation of the response it is. Okay, so because we have selected k equal to 84 by 25, this has made the system to generate oscillations in the response. Okay, because system is tending to unstable. When the system is unstable, then only oscillations are there. Okay, so therefore, once the system shows oscillation, obviously those oscillations are associated with some frequency, and those frequency is now calculated by comparing the value here, j omega naught equal to j 0.89. So therefore, this 0.89 radians per second indicates the frequency of those oscillations in the response. So therefore, now for what value of k these oscillations are occurring in the system? It is for k equal to 84 by 25. So therefore, we are calling this k as k marginal value. Okay, it is marginal value. Okay, so this, our k should not be equal to 84 by 25 in order to prevent these oscillations from occurring. Okay, in that case, the system will not give oscillations. It may be maybe exponential in nature. Okay, so at least oscillations will not be there in the system. So therefore, in order to avoid these oscillations, k should be less than 84 by 25. Okay, so therefore, the value of k for which the system generates oscillations is known as k marginal, and in this problem the k value is 84 by 25. Okay, so now this is how the root array is used to find the range of k values in the given system. So by looking at those, by that range of k values, it is possible to set a suitable value for k, so for which the system doesn't oscillate and it remains stable. Now in this, the range was 0 to 84 by 25. So we have a provision of choosing any value between this range. For all these values inside this range, the system remains stable only. There won't be any oscillations. So oscillations begins when k is exactly 84 by 25. Okay. So if we this information can be computed with the help of the root. This is what is the application. And once this range is known, you can set a suitable value of k and retain the system in the stable condition only. So this is what is the most important application of the Routh array. So in the next session, we'll take some more examples to discuss on applications of the Routh.